Inside 3 search warrants filed in Colonial Heights Circuit Court on March 19th and March 25th, details about alleged text communications between 2 LPNs at the Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. One of the 2 has been charged with abuse of a vulnerable adult resulting in death. The other had their falsifying patient records charge dismissed on Wednesday. According to the search warrants, Nurse 1 spoke about, quote, removing 15 Zofran pills from the medication cart within the facility for Nurse 2 and leaving them in her personal car for that nurse to pick up due to being sick. Zofran is an anti-nausea medication that requires a prescription. In the same message chain, Nurse 2 sent a message to Nurse 1 about administering medications to patients and stated, quote, been done. The people that can't talk didn't get expletive, so it was easy. Nurse 1 replied, quote, expletive. I do the same thing sometimes. They gonna be okay. And the ones who miserable get melatonin and Tylenol. Nurse 2 also asked Nurse 1 why they did not check on her to see if she was safe. And Nurse 1 said, quote, to be honest, I did not think much about it. I just thought it's something you always do. And Nurse 2 replied, quote, it is, but it's still risky coming back with pounds of drugs. In another text conversation, Nurse 2 told Nurse 1, quote, don't let that naughty head pepper and garlic smelling boiled egg with leg-shaped expletive get to you. Nurse 1 replies with laughing faces, and Nurse 2 says, quote, send the picture. Nurse 1 responds with a picture of a resident's COVID order placed in the charting system by the facility's medical director. That resident is at the center of the criminal case who prosecutors allege received inadequate care, which led to wounds and ultimately her death. And that's who the detective who filed the search warrant wrote that text was about. Now, according to the search warrants, the nurses also discussed that patients needed to be moved to different rooms because they were, quote, beefing, but tell each other to note that there were, quote, no issues in the charts. The search warrant also alleges that documents have been provided to the lead investigator and a nurse investigator with the state attorney general's office that show residents are being billed for services daily. However, the residents were not actually being seen and the care was charted as being done, but it was not. It states that, quote, through a joint investigation with other agencies, the money billed through Medicare and Medicaid has a possible nexus to money laundering and or wire fraud and kickbacks for fraudulent services not rendered. On Wednesday, the Commonwealth's attorney for Colonial Heights, Gray Collins, told us that more severe charges are coming and that investigators have uncovered more victims. Now, we asked a spokesperson for Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, Mindy Barnett, for a response to what we uncovered in these search warrants, and she sent us a statement that reads in part, the unsuccessful attempts by the prosecution are repeated measures of malicious slander to Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, which does not constitute news. The sole case tried resulted in the charges being dismissed at the conclusion of the Commonwealth's case. I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.